Okay, hello everyone. Today I'm going to introduce you our solution called Binance Application Sidechain. Uh, let's start with a tiny introduction. What is BAS itself? And later I will show you some demo, how does BAS work and how it can be used by developers and by different companies. So, what is BAS? BAS, or by BNB Chain Application Subchain, is a framework for creating sidechains in the BSC ecosystem. Its main task to allow developer to raise their blockchain in the matter of hours, which can be connected out of the box with the BSC infrastructure. Uh, Literally, BAS is a framework. The framework that has several modules inside that can be used and combined together. And this modulus is defined how the blockchain, how the subchain looks like, what features does it have, and it also allows to manage these features. Uh, uh, how does BAS work and what's the structure? Technically, BAS is a set of smart contracts that are written in any possible programming languages. In our current implementation, we have the combination between Golang and Solidity language. In essence, BAS defines the primary structure and configuration of the blockchain based on special templates. Here, we have already provided different models that can be used inside the BAS, like the consensus engines, the staking engine, that includes elections, that validator switching and managing of rewards and slashings inside the chain. Also, we provide the staking pools that simplify the staking process for all developers and for users who want to gain rewards, because staking pools allows to create liquid assets, and these assets can be reused by locking them in liquidity pools or etc. to gain additional rewards to the stakeholders. Also, we provide a runtime upgrade that allows to uh, upgrade the runtime for the BAS modules using on-chain governance. And of course, to make it possible, we also provide on-chain governance. It compounds alpha compatible governance. That means that all resources that we already have and all the resources developed by the community for the compounds compatible governance will work with BAS chain. And of course, the BAS is can be managed using chain configuration, and this chain configuration is also controlled by a governance. Since all BAS models and BAS chain is standardized, we have created a BIP for this product. And all the products are also Web3 compatible and EVM compatible. And this is why we can provide ready-made solutions that will work with every BAS compatible application. It also includes blockchain explorers, the set of SDKs that can be used for any BAS application, API gateways, staking and back-office UIs, and of course on-chain governance. Since BAS is just a framework, we must provide, we have to provide an implementation of these modules, of this framework, and we call it templates. Today, we already have run BSC-based template. It brings the features like compatibility with the Parley consensus engine, EVM support, Web3 support, and of course, it's BSC-driven. That means that all features that are going to be released to the BSC, including fast finality, Parley consensus, will be mergeable to the BAS and will be reusable by BAS that uses BSC template. But in the future, we are going to provide more templates that can bring more features like alternative consensus engines with, for example, DAC-based consensus engines, also all London features and all recent changes from the Go Ethereum implementation. And also, we are working on the more faster runtime environment that can also bring WebAssembly execution layer and new architecture with additional modules and fast finality consensus engine. What we have right now and what we are going to do in the future. Today we have a fully operating and working BSC-based BAS template. We already set up a demo, and today I'm going also to show you how to set up your own private chain and how to test and how to test this blockchain on your own. It already includes stakings, on-chain governance, slashing, reward distribution, staking pools, and etc. etc. Everything you need to have a working solution. Right now, we have in progress a modular architecture. It will be in indicate repositories, and it will let any BAS-based template to reuse existing set of modules with all recent changes and forks and the most recent features. Also, we're working on the alternative consensus engines with fast finality that will simplify the bridging process and make it much faster. And of course, we are going to provide a layer 2 solution that will have to prove the correctness of computations inside BAS sidechain and synchronize and verify all this data inside the BNB smart chain. Today, we have already mentioned, we have deployed the first development version of the BAS. You can see the access endpoints on the slides right now. It contains Blockchain Explorer, RPC gateways, a full set where you can claim some test tokens and the staking UIs. To simplify the process of running your own BAS instance, we have created a repository. We called it BAS.NET Setup, and it contains a set of scripts that might help you to run your own BAS chain in a couple of clicks. So we just fork this and run make script that automatically downloads all required data. It stops your local environment. It also can issue TLS certificates that can help you, for example, to access your services using HTTPS and TLS. And right now, we have next repositories. These are the most important repositories for the BAS. The first repository contains Genesis configuration. This configuration includes all information regarding the Genesis state and special scripts that can be used to generate your configuration based on your parameters. So you specify a special config file, and using this config file, you can modify different blockchain parameters, including faucet, governance, chain configuration, chain ID, and etc. etc. And you can build your own Genesis file using this repository. Also, BAS template, it's an implementation of the BAS using BSC blockchain. And as I already mentioned, we are going to provide more templates. In JavaScript and repo, you can find different UIs and SDKs that can be used for the BAS chain. And we are working to provide more features and more modules for this repository. And it also contains SDKs for governance, for managing Web3, for managing staking, etc., etc. And of course, all storybooks and UIs will be included there. And the last repository is for DevNet setup. This repository contains all scripts, as I have already mentioned, regarding to the setting up your own BAS chain. Okay, so right now I'd like to show you a demo of how does it work. So we go to our BAS DevNet setup repository. This repository contains Docker Compose files and different scripts that help you to run your own subnet. It also contains some information about each field in configuration and how to set up your own configuration and the command to run your blockchain. Let me find my SSH. So right now I'm connecting to my already created environment. and I want to run BAS. I have already set up UDNS domain names to speed up this process, because otherwise it might take up to 10 minutes to propagate new records. And just run. So what this script does? It install all required dependencies. It also clone this repository and run make all script. Make all script is responsible for installing Docker, for installing Ankr, for creating Genesis files, for running blockchain, Explorer, and Balancer. It's already done. Here we can see that it ran for set 5 validators, but node and the PC node. And we can check that right now it's running and operating, and we can even check logs for one of our validators. Oh, it seems like it's cached logs. It was the first block. Here have 6 block and 10 block, etc., etc. Since it's running, we can open UI. For example, for the staking. Okay. Okay. It requires password. Also, we have fork set where we can claim some tokens. For example, for this new address. Also, it contains Explorer, where we can monitor all operations and all actions regarding our addresses and our blockchain. Here is our transaction that contains the Ether sent from our faucet address. And since we have enough money on our address, now we can go to staking UI, and we can delegate some tokens to validator. Okay, let's set 0 here. Yeah, now it's done. Now we can check the staking page, and here we can see that we have staked, delegated 10 BAS tokens to validator. And here we see the history, and once we have enough rewards for this validator, we will see the list of available assets for claim. It's our staking rewards that we can claim, or we can even restake to the validator. The most interesting part here, I can say, is Genesis config. What is Genesis config? This is a script that is written on the Golang that run emulation of the smart contracts to construct the initial state, and it exports the initial state to the JSON file that can be used to initialize your blockchain later. A Genesis file is strictly required to run the blockchain, and without the Genesis file, you won't be able to run the blockchain. It will already have pre-set up configurations for the local testings, like for DevNet or for LocalNet. And also it can read configuration file from input. You can specify your configuration file, and it will generate the Genesis file. Let me show an example of such file here. When we did run our make file, it had run create Genesis file. We can run this again. It's done, and you can see it's running inside Docker, so you don't need to install Node.js dependencies, Yarn dependencies, Golang dependencies, etc. It has everything pre-built already, and it created the Genesis JSON file, and this file contains bytecode for all smart contracts regarding BAS modules. And it already contains information about all storages. And to be honest, storage contains only data about constructing the smart contract. And when consensus produced the first block, it ran init command that reads all this information from the storage and initialize the data. We decided to do it to avoid constructing elements inside constructor because, for example, it can emit some useful event logs, and without this since Genesis file is not able to store event logs, it might be very painful for developers to track events that were produced in the zero block. So I think that's it. If you have any questions regarding this presentation or some specific questions regarding Binance application subchain, BNB Chain application subchain, feel free to ask if it's possible to do in the chat or somewhere else. If no, okay, it seems there is no questions for now.